Good night, Stephen. Good night. Welcome to Mike on the Mic. How has things been on your end? I know you're kind of premiering a new film. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, good night. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, Michael. It's a vibe.
Yes, man.
No, so far we premiered a film while being in quarantine, which is amazing. My wife and I, we were watching a lot of content, just like a lot of everybody, Trinidadians, everybody watching. Things are trending, and we fell into the same gap as well. And then 3 a.m., I think 4 a.m. a morning, we just sit down there and say, you know, how come we're not making content? We are content creators. So we came up with the idea based on a newspaper article that we saw, and then we decided to develop that story. And what you have is a 3-minute horror film with my wife and I, shot home without leaving for 3 days. I think we shot like up to 6 a.m. for 3 mornings, and then we did some pickup shots and that kind of vibes.
Oh, okay, great. That sounds good. I mean, I got to catch the film online, and I was kind of blown away because it's a kind of, I mean, I know we do film together, so it's just channeling a little bit of Hitchcock a lot. I was like, this looking like a Hitchcock kind of film, boy, because it's suspense. It's the suspense that made the film, you know. Tell me who are the directors you probably kind of channeled for your film.
So of course, you know, being during the whole UE program as well, and there's so many different filmmakers that I would have, you know, learned from, like John Carpenter, these guys, of course, Hitchcock, and then David Sandberg recently, you know, Lights Out director. Of course, I love James Wan's work, you know, in the Annabelle creation series, etc. So of course, in my mind, I wasn't particularly following a specific genre or a specific director, but with the decisions I was making, it was clearly informed, because not everybody could just pick up a cell phone and create a particular mood or style without having specific equipment or a larger crew of gear. But I didn't have any filmmaker in particular, but I know subconsciously through the years of studying would have made decisions and referenced certain things based on the mood, the tone, and the feel I'm trying to get, you know?
I know we kind of have, how do you say, from the film language, let me see if I remember it, we have a kind of milieu. We kind of just dive straight into it. But let me ask you the specific questions now. You said you were involved, your wife was involved. Were there any other people involved in the production of this film?
Absolutely. One of the main ingredients would be sound and sound design. So I've worked with Navid. He was part of one of my first films, Buck the Man Spirit. If you all haven't seen it, just stick in. But Navid and I worked together, and Buck was also along that vein of being a horror thriller sort of thing. So for this one, when Reem and I sat and we discussed it and we fleshed it out, I actually shot it. And I was like, I wonder if Navid want to do this, boy, in quarantine. I called him, and it was like chalk and cheese. We had a conversation. He understood where I was coming from. And then in 2 twos, as they say, as we say in Trinidad, when work came back, and the bulk of the score is what he did the first time around. You know, of course, we would have tweaked and enhanced certain moments and fine-tuned stuff. But he definitely came back with that thing in the rough. And we delivered some scales. That sound and visual collaboration there, that comparison, really worked.
I think it helped with the build-up, to be quite honest, because it was the actually, and I think you pointed out very well. I think Hitchcock, that's why I say that, because I remember writing a paper on Hitchcock. The sound built the suspense, and I'm glad that you said that it was collaboration with somebody who understands the use of sound too as well, and that kind of helped execute the film. But let me ask you the next question I have here. You said about it, you talked about it a little bit earlier on, but where the idea from the film come from, and how much time did it take to produce this film?
Good question. The idea came from, well, of course, we've been consumed with the whole pandemic that's happening right now through the media, through, you know, written, visual, news, all of that. We've just been consumed by it. So after watching, I can't remember what show, we were just watching, binging something, and we just looked at each other and say, Reem, you know, we should make content. Let's make content. And we started just talking. I actually put a post out on Facebook as well. I put a post out on Facebook. I said, hey, guys, I have this thought. I'm a special effects makeup artist, director. My wife is an actress, producer. I have a phone. What kind of stories could I tell? Anybody have any ideas? And people sort of, made a little fun and jokes and stuff. But nobody really took it seriously, real serious.
Yeah.
I had somebody from LA even message me with 2 or 3 ideas to create a film. But because it was in LA, a lot of the settings was very different to my home, and it was based in California, etc.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. Reba and I was like, all right, let's just put our minds together. So I ended up pitching to her. I read somewhere that a fella escaped from quarantine, Jed.
Yes.
A man really in real life escaped from quarantine. When I heard that, when you hear a piece of news, it's be like, that's not real, that a movie thing.
Yeah. I think it was in my area, Shagonas. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So I say, how about we explore that? So we ended up exploring that story. What if he did escape? What if he really went back to people he knew? And from there, of course, we latched on different horror elements to flavor it up and embellish it a little more.
Yeah, and the other question I had was, how long did it take to shoot? And what was the storyboard process like for the shoot?
Glad you asked that. Great question. So it took about 3 nights of main production. So 3 nights, I'm talking about, we started filming because we want to make sure we're not disturbing anybody who's around us, and it also has to be quiet for sound.
Yeah.
So we film at 6 o'clock or 7. We had to film around 10 o'clock. So from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., we filming.
I hear you.
It was very difficult because when you work with a crew, it's easier. When it's just you doing it and acting and performance and even props and all that become difficult. Yeah. We did 3 nights of that. And then the final shot actually took a long time to do because now the camera was on me.
Yeah. And you have to be coaching behind the scenes, your actress and
the scenes, and I see the footage, and then I also had makeup on my own self, and nobody could. So that was intense. So it was 3 main days of principal photography.
Yeah.
And we did 1 day of pickup where I just shoot different versions of the final shot. And then I did another day of pickups with 1 shot, a nice action shot to complete it. With regards to the music, I think Navid and I probably spent about 3 days. 1 day talking, next day he put some work in, and then he delivered the final piece with some tweaks just before we released for midnight.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow! It sounds like it was an actual full production, and it wasn't just quarantine. But yes, let me use this brain, because I've been promoting on my channel. Let's use this time to hone in and work on your craft. And it's amazing that what you did and what you're able to accomplish. I'm feeling a little jealous to myself because I immerse in this news gathering and news life now, and I miss my film days. And hopefully this might be inspiring to do some things on my own too as well. But
I absolutely hope that it does inspire you, because that's why I wanted to use one question you did ask, which I didn't answer. I actually have it right here. So I didn't go all the way to draw anything too crazy, but this is a portion of the storyboard for the act. It is the bed flipping over. This is her on the phone here. This is me lifting up the bed, etc. So I really wanted to do it in such a way where people could feel like I could do it too. I don't have no fancy drawing. I don't have to have no fancy set. I mean, the set was empty, blank. So yeah, that's actually the storyboard for the action sequence.
And it kind of lead me to our next question that popped in my mind. What would be your advice to other filmmakers like yourself, or even people who at home now and have that idea and want to do something in film, or maybe do a little narrative at home with their family members as actors? What would be your words of advice for them?
I mean, for me, it's pretty simple in terms of my words of advice would be create. Nothing is wrong or right. I'm sure you have seen, Michael, I'm sure you've seen shows that you think are trash.
Yeah.
Like, why is this on Netflix? Who is watching this? I know you watched the first episode. I'm sure there are shows you've turned.
Yes.
them really like this now. Right? But it's there.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's there because somebody liked it. So I would say don't judge yourself yet. Don't try to be the critic. Don't try to be the audience as well. Be the filmmaker. Be the creator. You will find people who like it. Let's be real. Not everybody likes horror. There's some people, Steven, we love you, we support it, but I can't watch that. I don't do horror.
Boy, that's a kind of sideline to what you're saying. Recently, my wife and myself, we've been watching some Indian movies, and it's been a long time. But I remember back in the day, growing up watching TTT, had a lot of Indian movies on a Sunday evening.
Yes.
And then while watching the movies, I was like, well, this thing has evolved so much from what I remember as a child. Even when I was doing a little bit of film, I said, but this is a proper film industry. And then it started inspiring me as a Caribbean person. Why we don't have this in Trinidad? We have the same challenges, but we have more resources and more creative people. We shouldn't be this way in Trinidad.
I think not a lot of filmmakers reach out and have dialogue. I mean, I had to commend you. I appreciate this dialogue. That not a lot of people doing that. Just looking at my social media, I have people who are outside of the industry appreciate film, talking about it, sharing about it, reviewing it. Unless the industry even just popping a note and saying, yo, you did that with a cell phone, mad. So I think at the same time, trying to do what Music Box and them fellas on TTT was doing with them Indian flick. It takes a team.
Yes.
But I don't know how we translate the idea of team unless it's a work or a job. You know? Men don't really come together just to create, because there was one idea I was thinking, how dope it would be if a number of filmmakers worked remotely and we created a film. So I thought, and then we get somebody to do VFX in some other country, and then sound somewhere and somebody else did this and da. But the team,
maybe we're talking about an idea that we could kind of work out together, because it's a good idea, because I had something along the same vein, as in this COVID-19 experience is affecting everybody within the world. And if you have a large enough network and a large enough group, as you rightly say, each person could shoot 2 minutes into the film and build up into an hour, but based on their experience of what COVID is. So for one person, COVID might be affecting your grandparents, but for our next person, it might be affecting your wife, or it might be affecting your brother, or it might be a stranger you're bouncing up in the street, and then this person infect you. So it's a good idea. We could we could shoot it on your cell phone. I mean, the sky's the limit with the technology. Since and similar to your story, since I've launched this podcast, similarly, a lot of Trinidadians hesitate from interaction and hesitate from interacting with the video, which I've been always promoting. But through this podcast, I spoke to somebody in Manchester, I spoke to somebody in Queens, I spoke to somebody in LA as well, in Los Angeles. I spoke to somebody in Hollywood too as well. So as you rightly said, the technology is there. It's just within our own Caribbean minds. We need to break out of the shell and think of us as a global people too as well.
You see, and which is why people always ask, how come your music videos, or my music videos, I have a team, I have a crew. That is because I'm trying to work and walk the walk, basically. If we work in a team, there are some people who just want to edit. There's some people who just want to shoot. There's some people who really need to be exposed to different roles in a film. The reason why Reem and I were able to shoot this was because we are exposed to all the roles. I had to do my props, them little surgical thing on my chest. That was a piece of paper and a button.
Okay, wow.
Right? And a button. That was that. So I had to be aware of how to make a prop and how to just use shape and design. For sound, I did a little bit of sound as well. I held boom before, trembling with my hand. So even though it's a cell phone, we understand capture the sound. I had to capture ADR and Foley after to send beat using the phone. But if you know how to use the phone properly, then the sound will be good. So it's just like people being open to all the different roles and just be pumped about film. I just be so excited. I recorded footsteps on the tile so we could send the Navi so you could add it in post-production. And I'm excited about that. Like, there's the magic of it, So I think it's the excitement as well and the passion. Most of us generally have to do it to earn a living. So doing this, of course, was a passion project and a joy. But sometimes it's hard to just do a passion if you ain't making no money.
Yeah. I feel your pain.
Story, you know.
I feel your pain as a fellow filmmaker. I feel your pain, and even as now as I'm burdening to be doing reports too as well for where I work at CNC3. It wasn't out of me wanting to be a reporter, but just the desire of understanding every role so that you can be more efficient in your role as a cameraman. As in, what are the needs of the reporter? How it is that we're gonna tell the story, and that's when I work with my team. That's the conversation that we have, and it's good to hear that there's other people with similar thinking, because it's something that is ingrained in us and we need to change. The fact that we're no longer in a community or in a space with yourself. In order for you to grow, you need to be able to build a network, and it's good to see that Caribbean film is changing that ideology.
Absolutely do. Michael, I miss my crew on this.
Yeah.
I miss my crew. I had to change every light in terms of like the angle. This is my flashlight that I use. You know, I had to put the flashlight on the ground and shoot it up, or put it on the cupboard. I had to let the camera run and do that. Then look in the lens. You know, a simple thing as we filming late and you're thirsty, boy. A production assistant would be nice to give me a little water right now. You know, so
I hear you. Yeah.
Laugh when we were, you know, just saying, wow, how much we miss our crew, and how you are able to also finesse your craft, what you are specifically to enhance the work, you know, because now when you're looking at a camera, you also, as you know, you have to look at the exposure and the ending and if they focus. But if you're doing that and trying to direct, one thing is going to be, you know, compromise. And compromise. So big up my crew if all you're watching. I miss all you. I love all you. Thanks so much.
And this leads to my next question. I like how the conversation, because it's a very organic conversation. That intimacy between yourself and as your wife was a co-actress, right? Well, how was it in that creative space, you bouncing off ideas with the wifey and the wifey bouncing off ideas with yourself? What was that space like, because you're both creators in different realms?
Good question. Well, I tend to be described as the intense one, right? Intense one who is like, I probe in the story and all of that. She is the more relaxed, level-headed one, I would say. So when we bounce ideas, it starts really big like a sculpture. So most times I might start it off, what about if we did this? And I would pitch, and she would be the one to shoot down my idea, which is me off. But because I know we're on the same team, right, literally be like, no, that don't make sense. That's because she's trained in production side. She's in performance side and storytelling. So that blend happens. So for us, after we get the story going and we agree with it and we can see it, before we poke holes, we poke a lot of holes in it. What if this? Why wouldn't she leave? Or why she had to be in a white dress? Why not a towel? Why not this? Why she? We would literally be the first naysayers. We will do this thing, and what would somebody say? From there, we'd figure out through blocking. We'll go through, like, since we're shooting in our apartment, we go to different parts of the house, try new things, see how it feels, play with it. And from there, we sort of go into our different roles. My strength is directing, this is producing and performance and acting. So now we defer to each other and complement by sharing ideas. You know, so she shot the final shot of the film. I couldn't shoot it. So she had to be the one that shot that. So I had to rely and trust her. And then, you know, with her acting in the scene, I'm not the one acting. So I have that she could bring the emotion and the mood. So it was very good. But like with any relationship, on set or otherwise, there's points where you're frustrated too. Like, we shot that last shot, Michael, too many times. Too many times. I was just like, done. I didn't want to do that. So I went through that. I admit I went through that. You know, so because we took it seriously, it wasn't just a hobby. It wasn't just we doing a thing. No, we doing this. It's our brand. It's our passion. if we're going to put this out, let's do it properly. So once we said it was time to shoot and it was call time, it became work. We were working, you know.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell how the relationship works.
It's interesting that you say that because I think my wife and myself have the same relationship. She's not on camera, but behind the scenes, she takes certain things and she tells me certain things and she poke holes. Now, in the past, I used to get very, very upset and like, you don't know about this production thing. But now I realize it's a different perspective that needs to be respected. And especially in these quarantine conditions, if you don't have a good team and you can't have communication.
That, you know, because it's the same speech as you ain't really understand, but how you can say that make it and we get vexed, dread, we get vexed. And we realize, but wait, they're actually trying to help. It's a different perspective. It makes sense.
And I think that's the value of this COVID situation for us. It allows us to take a step back and really appreciate those in our lives and realize it's very important for us, Trinidad and Tobago, moving into the 21st century from 2020 and beyond, that we really need the community, because no longer could we stand alone. The global community is moving forward, and if we don't take it now, we'll be left behind, and it's very important that way. But let me wind down the interview now. This has been going on for a little while. My final question, right? And it was the question that to me was obvious, but I still had to ask the question. Why 19? Why call your film 19? What was the reasoning?
I want to throw it back to you. Why you think it's 19? I want to throw it back the ball.
COVID-19, that's the environment in which the film has been created.
Absolutely. With that COVID-19 brand, but we also didn't want to plaster the film with that and per se. So yes, it's the COVID-19. So we also thought it would be catchy, and we really just didn't want to be too heavy-handed with it and have that dialogue. So the fact that you're asking, you know, you have a sense that that's what it might be, but it opens up dialogue. And to me, that gives the film a life after the credits. And that's more exciting for me, especially with a short film. What we take away from it, what kind of conversations spill out of it, and how could we be better through that dialogue, through filmmakers, through individuals, through couples, through pairs. Because, you know, people are now messaging me. I've gotten this question a couple of times. So what is this 19 thing? Or is it that because she wanted to leave and the fact that she didn't stay home, or she was contemplating, you know, it's so dialogue behind it. But to answer your question, yes, that was the tail end of COVID-19.
I hear you. I need to watch the film again because, I mean, I had that conversation with my wife, and to me, I thought it was a personification of the virus 19. But then after, as I explained certain things with the film, I was like, hey, Mike, you're way off. Wife was correct.
I thank you. Go until I apologize.
Let me wrap this Mike on the mic interview. This was very interesting. I know we kind of touched all over the place, but it was very interesting and it was necessary. I'm glad that we didn't stay all on COVID and we showed the creative process behind your film. And I wish you and your film and your future endeavors great success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to have this dialogue. I think dialogue is where films live on. So thanks for giving it that extra breath of life. And I really hope that the viewers, if they do want to reach out, they can always reach me on IG at Stephen Taylor Film. I would be delighted to answer any other questions or any sort of BTS and anything to keep this momentum going. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you and your audience.
Thank you, Stephen. Take care. Have a good night.
Take care, you too.